It's Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Since 2010, your weekly source for independent New York Red Bulls news and opinion. Now, from the Joe Goldstein studio, here's your host, Mark Fishkin.
It's true. It's Mark Fishkin here with Mike Battista. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. It's been a chaotic week of soccer in the New York area.
It's been a bonkers week. It's only going to get more bonkery. And here come the 100-degree temperatures. So watch out. It's Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Please, the liking, the subscribing. Tonight on Seeing Red, New York concedes early and starts the second half of the season with a clunker, losing 2-1 at Austin FC. Tonight on the show, we'll go inside the loss. We'll give our Bull of the Week. There's a familiar name back with the club, a name that you must know, and we'll talk about Michael Bradley returning to coach the RB2 side. The World Club Cup is happening. Mike has seen these matches live. I want his thoughts. We'll preview New York's trip to a very bad Toronto team this weekend, and we've even got an email. No guest tonight. We're just kind of keeping it lean and mean. Let's get right back into it. The Red Bulls went to Austin, Texas, where they had never lost. They'd only played there once before. They conceded 6 minutes in when Raheem Edwards lost Biro in the box on the second chance off a restart with a nice header. Not great, Bob. And then Forsberg got his goal off a second chance and Brandon Vasquez's head on a corner to tie it. And then in the second half, a bit of ball watching in the 50th minute as both Noah Ayla and Kyle Duncan lost Vasquez. Vasquez likes to score against the New York Red Bulls. He did when he was in Cincinnati. He did the other night in Austin. New York puts one of 15 shots on target, and it was the last one on a Forsberg free kick in the 96th minute, and they lose 2-1. Not great, but all in all, Lewis Morgan saw the field, which I think was a positive. Louis Carvalho came back. He saw the field. Mike, overall thoughts on, a night where New York comes up just one goal short on the road again in ridiculous heat conditions that we'll see more of this summer?
Yeah, I'll say that it's kind of a similar story to what we've been seeing. Just the offense, either it's working or it's not. We don't have that consistency that a team needs. Problem is, I'll say that, and then the team will then go on and win 3 in a row. So I'm like, well, eggs on my face. It's just I don't know. I won't lie to you. I don't know anything about Austin, like in the sense that I don't know what the West Coast is like. That's a different league to me. So I can't really tell you like what they were.
Austin is in Texas, Mike, not the West Coast, but I'm with you.
Are they in the Western Conference?
They're in the Western Conference, yes. I'm not
okay.
Sure.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
But what I mean is like going into this game, it kind of felt like, who is this alien team? I don't know anything about them.
Right.
And in that sense, the Red Bulls, it's kind of like fumbling around for me. It felt like Austin didn't need to do a lot. The Red Bulls had a lot of possession. They couldn't get things on target.
Yeah.
Their defense, you used the word, call ball watching. And I will actually say that it felt like Alexander Hack had his best game as a Red Bull so far. Like he looked really good, like on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Saturday. Sorry, I went to a game on Sunday, so that completely throws me off. But yeah, no, it's funny that when he has his best game, other players the rest of the back line just kind of falls apart. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think it's soul crushing, but this is, it's a result against a team that you don't know and you wouldn't know unless it's the playoffs,
Right. And that we won't see again. With the loss and other wins, New York, I think, is down to 8th in the East, which is fine. It's still, it's still a dog pile. It's going to take a long time to unwind who exactly are the contenders, who exactly are the pretenders. I think New York kind of is in the messy middle and
messy.
Not the messy middle, the messy middle. And I think New York did nothing to change that opinion. I think it was, I mean, this team was used to playing it every 72 hours, which they did for a month, and now they had a whole week off and clearly completely threw them. But they get another shot against a very poor opponent on Saturday. One that when they played earlier this year, they played down to their level and nearly gave them 2 points. But I think it's just fine. It's just fine.
You call it the messy middle. Like we could drop that pun, but that's funny because like you, I feel like the goal for this team right now is we want a home playoff game besides the best of three. Like
Right.
we want to be a higher seed and we want home playoff games. And if in that chaotic spree, there's like 3 teams at the top of the East right now. There's Philly, Inter Miami, and someone else, I think.
Yeah, Cincy.
So like that only leaves the 4th spot. Like I don't know if this Red Bull team is that 4th spot. Like, and that's the thing. It could go to anybody though because it's chaotic.
It's Nashville, actually. That's the 3rd team. So as we stand right now, the Red Bulls with 27 points, they're 4 points out of that 4th spot. And they have some interesting challenges ahead of them for sure. But this week is a great opportunity to get, I think, a little more confidence on the ball. Is there a bowl of the week on the night where New York scores 0 of the 3 goals scored in the game?
I will give it to Hack. I think I saw a lot. Like he did really well with his duels, and I would say that like he like a lot of good. I think he had 2 really good tackles. You know, like I said, one of his better performances in defense. It just thinks that the rest of the defense fell apart. Thanks for Raheem Edwards. So I will give it to Hack just because why not?
Peter Stroud will not play this week after getting his 5th yellow card of the season. And Coach Schwartz will not be behind the bench this week, as he picked up his 5th yellow card and he is suspended.
But we have a new full-time assistant coach.
We do have a new assistant coach, and I was going to get to that. So Michael Bradley, who famously played the 2005 season, the final season this club played as the Metro Stars. He played 33 matches in all competitions. He started all 33, despite the fact that he was at the time 18 years old, turning.
Who was the coach?
Was it his dad, Bob?
Yeah.
At the time? Oh, fancy that.
What a crazy thing.
Funny that. Bradley then moved on to Heerenveen in Netherlands, where I believe he led the Eredivisie in scoring at least for a year before going on honestly a pretty solid European run, playing at clubs like Roma before returning for a big wad of cash to join Toronto, where he helped win the 2017 MLS Cup.
And got to like 3 cups in general, I think, right?
I don't have his career bio.
I just remember it was always Toronto and Seattle or Portland playing in the MLS Cup for like a good 5 years. So
for a bit, for sure.
Yeah.
Bradley obviously had an immense career with U.S. men's national team, scoring the unbelievable 2nd goal against Slovenia in their World Cup, back from 2-0 down in the opening moments of the second half. In that game, he also was unfortunately terribly derided for some of his play in following World Cups, despite being the player that ran the most out of the entire group stage. Michael Bradley is one of the most intense players, I think, in U.S. soccer history. He's the coach's son, and he is now, with the virtue of Vida Ibisevic moving on as the head, as the assistant to Sandro Schwartz, and Ibra Sagaya moving up from Red Bull 2 to that assistant coach role. Michael Bradley has been added as Red Bull's 2 head coach. It's his first head coaching job in the professional ranks back in Jers. We're actually going to talk to Michael tomorrow at the Red Bulls training facility, which we're excited to do. And so I guess here's a name out of the past. Here's a name with as much success in U.S. soccer. I mean, he's a top 10 U.S. soccer, men's national team player of all time. He's an MLS Cup champion. He obviously grew up in Princeton when his dad was coach of Princeton. You can make the argument he's part of the Bradley coaching tree directly. He is a direct branch of that tree. And now he starts his professional coaching in Montclair. What do you think, Mike?
Mixed. Right now, when the news broke, I remember I was knee deep in other things, and I kind of just openly said, this is either really cool or really stupid, and I need time to process it.
Okay.
And I still can't fully comprehend it because he's been an assistant coach in 2 places. I won't pretend to butcher the name of his.
Well, stay back in Norway with his dad.
In Norway, and then he was with Canada for a cup of tea earlier this year, like the Canadian national team with Jesse. So, I'm not saying that he has no experience, and I think that having a player like him, that intense player, it's a good move for kids to have that around, especially in MLS Next Pro. I don't think that Red Bull is in the business of making a Tim Tebow signing of ooh, shiny. This will get the butts in the seats. That's no one's say that's that. I'm curious where he's going to pan out because we've seen that intensity. I don't know how well it's going to translate into coaching because we've seen it in the captain's armband. We've also seen captains fail miserably when they try to become coaches.
Thierry Henry once challenged his players to fight him.
I was actually in my head saying, do I bring up Henry or will
We're
people
a shared
doing
brain?
that?
A shared
brain.
Yes.
The thing overall, my main question is how long has this been in the works? Because Ibra Zakaya was they announced 2 departures on the same day. The assistant coach was departing the organization, and Ibra was coming full time on the first team, the MLS team.
Right.
How long have they known Bradley was going to become available? And because this was not a spur of the moment thing. So I'm curious, what is Jokin or the Guzman or whoever's game plan here? Because I am very curious.
I guess the question is, it's not at the end of the day for me, and I know there are people that feel very differently. I don't care if the 2 team wins a single game. What I care about, what I care about is the development of players that could be used for the first team. I know that there's a very small cabal of people that, are rabid followers of RB2 and want them to do well. And of course I want them to do well, but I don't think Ibra Sagaya is getting measured on whether his team wins or loses. I think he's getting measured on the quality of players that he moves along through, through the organization. And you can make the argument that players like Omar Valencia and Mohamed Sofo absolutely are a testament to the way that Sagaya has brought them along. And now Michael Bradley, the son returns home, has a chance to do the same. Let me tell you, for Red Bull 2 players, I mean, you're gonna run and run and run, because if you can't tell your coach, hey, it's a little much. I've had enough. Thank you. I'm good. I think it's great. I'm looking forward to seeing how Bradley integrates the Red Bull ethos and coaching philosophy into what he brings. Right? It has to be a mix of those 2 things.
Let's just also say this real quick, because I think that even I want Red Bull 2 to win. I want Red Bull U23 to win, like back when that existed. Both of those teams won the league trophies before the first team.
Right.
My thing with the second team is that I truly believe that your goal isn't to win. Your goal is to develop players. But as you develop players, you should be winning games. And in USL, that was tough because as the development between V3 to D2, that made it tougher. Now you're in MLS Next Pro. If you are developing the right way, because the rest of the MLS academies and systems have caught up to the Red Bulls, we're no longer the best. Philadelphia is probably the best now. I don't know. But
I think it's about the
If-
quality of the kids you have at any one time, personally. But okay,
but what I'm saying is that, like, if you are doing your job the right way,
yeah,
you should be winning these games. I'm hopeful we can do that. I'm not saying that, oh man, I'm gonna die if we don't win MLS Next Pro. All I'm saying is that, like, the days of USL Championship, wooden spoon, like, that
right.
just didn't make me confident for the future of this organization. So that's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. I'm checking on the MLS Next Pro
We are
standings.
top of the league right now.
We are top of the league.
Yeah, we beat Chattanooga. Red Bull 2 beat Chattanooga FC. Go Blue. They beat them 5-2 in Montclair
Top of the
on
league.
Sunday, which I was there for the first half. And so in the second half, I saw Bradley sitting, pulling off his best Jason Statham with, like, black jacket, black
All
hat.
right.
I'm like, yeah, dude.
Let
he
me
just
tell
was
you how this is going to go down.
incognito serious up until a kid walked up to him, say, "Can I have a photo?" But no, so he saw that they're top of the league right now.
They are top of the league, 9-2-2 with one shootout loss, undefeated at home. Wow, good stuff.
Fortress,
All right.
Montclair State.
The World Club Cup is going on right now. You may or may not be aware. If
Club
you're
World
listening
Cup.
to this show, I bet you're probably aware. There are Instagram feeds that are making hay with posting photos of, I think, lots of Instagram feeds posting photos of empty stadiums, going, "What the heck is going on?" Not taking a second to understand that if you're playing a game at Monday in Atlanta at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, odds are a lot of the people are working in that market. All in all, and of course, I think it was a game out in the Rose Bowl that had 80,000 fans, and the attendances have been all over the place. I think the Mamelodi Sundowns versus Ulsan game had, I mean,
600 people.
it was like it was an RB2 game. I mean, it was literally. I mean, you can't even call it a CCL game. CCL games draw the 3,000 fans. They were. It was they were counting the vendors at Orlando City Stadium, and so I guess the question is, we're in week 2 now. I guess we're still in week, I don't even
Group
know.
stage match day 2. I guess you want to call
Match day 2. You have seen some of these games coming through Penn Station on Father's Day. I saw lots and lots and lots of Palmeiras fans going out for that sizzling 0-0 draw with Porto. What do you think about it? Like, what are your thoughts in general?
Yeah, so the FIFA Club World Cup it's interesting because both games I've seen have been 0-0 draws, and both games I've seen have been Brazilian fans just coming out in support against European teams. Both times, whether it was Palmeiras or if it was like Fluminense, you saw, like, the first game was like 47,000, and that would sell out the stadium in Brazil.
Right.
And the coach openly said that MetLife is too big.
Wow.
And I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. And then
Sure.
I had to step back and say, "Oh wait, I'm American. Like,
right.
We don't think like that.
OG MLS coaches used to say that, right?
Really?
But it's been in the early days of MLS when Columbus is playing in the Horseshoe. I think this is too big.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting because I've seen with these 0-0 draws, we saw Jude Bellingham's brother get a shot, like make his debut with Dortmund. I've seen some really interesting play. I've seen some really fun games, personally. So I think the whole thing is that, but towards the end, they accepted the draw, which is both. They know this is a weird tournament, and they also know that it's a group stage, so they could take a draw. Then you have the games like the Orlando City game or the game in Orlando Stadium where it's 600 people. You also have it where you have PSG selling out the Rose Bowl.
Right.
Or you have random, like, Inter Miami doing a sizzling 0-0 draw against a 40-time Egyptian champion.
Which was the best result that an MLS team has had in this tournament so far.
And MLS teams have not been doing great right now. Some have been respectable, but overall, I would say that this tournament is a cash grab. And no one will deny that. I won't say that I have not been thoroughly sports entertained to borrow a WWE phrase. But it's odd because when I go to the games, it feels like I'm going to an MLS game in the sense that once you leave the game, no one cares. There's nothing around the stadium to make you think this happened. There's no vibrance around the thing. It's incredible inside a stadium, but then there's nothing around it. And I feel like
do you think that's because MetLife is in a sea of parking lots?
I think it's because of that. I think it's because you can't have. Yeah, I think it's probably because of that, honestly. Because
there's no local team. I mean,
if I saw what you saw at Penn Station, I think I would feel differently. Because I went to an event for Men in Blazers for FC Porto, and it was very small and very quaint, and it was nice and very well run, but it didn't give me that. This is happening. If I saw what happened in Times Square or Penn Station, I feel like I would feel differently.
Okay.
But things are working weirdly. I'd say the cracks are showing, but I still think there's time for this turnaround. The thing that worries me is the knockouts, because teams and fans can't plan for the knockouts. So,
right.
I
mean, also consider it may not be an opportune time to visit the United States right now. Also consider, there has been very little promotion. Gianni Infantino basically saying, this is important. You should support it. And if you're a casual fan who has no idea who Gianni Infantino is, I don't know. And
he's the bald guy.
Right. He's Lex Luthor. And the tickets... the ticket prices have been falling through the floor as demand has shrunk for these. But, if it's going to be, excuse me, the great clubs of Europe that are moving their way through this tournament, I would imagine as we build toward the final, which will be at MetLife, at Sunday at 3 p.m. in a couple of weeks, it'll get better. But again,
two more things, like two things before I let you move on, though. Yeah. It's like, you have a game at 12 o'clock. The next two games, or the last game at MetLife was 12 noon on a Tuesday. The next game at MetLife is 12 noon on a Thursday, which is just killer.
Yeah.
You don't realize that families can't attend this for we're not in a good place economically. Kids are still in school right now. I know it's wrapping up, but right now they are. You could take off. Are you going to take off for this? I don't know.
No, I don't think you are.
A bunch of other things. So that also factors in. However, I'm also in a very sicko mood because I've realized that we can get a Hudson River Derby in this tournament, and I really am game for that. Because if you look at Group G and Group H,
right.
One has Man City and one has Red Bull Salzburg. And if one of those teams wins their group and the other one finishes second, they will meet in the round of 16. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm already sold again. Let's go.
You are one of the 6 dozen people that will take that on.
I will more than happily just say, oh, wait, it's red. Okay, cool. We're good. Okay. We're back.
All right. If you squint. All right.
Gerhard was there for a minute.
That's good to know. Oof. Hey, the Red Bulls play another game on Saturday. They take on Toronto FC. Let's talk about them, shall we? Toronto FC is not good. They weren't good when they played in New York. They're not good now.
I think Toronto is 3. I think I previewed last time when they came to Red Bull. I think I previewed too, and it's not gotten better.
No, it's not. 3-10-4 for 13 points. 14th in the 15-team East. They've scored 18 and have allowed 24 in 17 games. They have the lowest amount of XG in MLS, this on a team that has Insigne and Bernardeschi. Woof. They're last in MLS in shots on target per match. The Red Bulls are actually better than that, despite their 1 shot on target last week. 29th, though, in yellow cards. They don't get carded a whole lot. The Red Bulls are 3rd in the league. They have 44 yellows on the year. The 3rd most saves per match in MLS. That's because they get shelled every week. And they are tied for last in the league on set piece goals. That's not penalty kick goals, set piece goals. They have 1 in 17 games. Their last 5, woof. 1-0 loss. Everything is wrapped around this one match where they dropped a hammer at Montreal in the Canadian Classique. And I think they were very, very excited about that. In that match, Brioni got a red card for Montreal in the 64th minute. It was over by halftime. Toronto was up 3-1, and then they kind of strolled through the second half. But the last three matches, and you can make the argument that these are quality sides here, right? Because you can hear Schwartz, and if he talks about this game, basically say, "Oh, this is a very good team," right? They've played all these games. These were all games at home. They lost at home to Nashville. They lost at home to Philly. They lost at home to Charlotte. Last five. Woof. All right. New season, same story with a new head coach, Robin Fraser. Both Bernadeschi and Insigne were staying put. The Toronto fans can be forgiven for thinking this season might just be different. However, as it turned out, the season has panned out like every other one since the arrival of those Italian DPs. Bernadeschi's talented. We've seen what he can do at his best in this league, but he seems to be the only one who cares or is good enough to do anything of note. Insigne is talented, but seems to not do nothing every time he steps foot on the field. Of their new big money striker, Ola Brynhilsen has failed to hit the ground running, scoring just twice in 12 appearances since joining the club from Midtjylland. It's a long story. It's the same story. It's offense that just can't get it together. And then a long hiatus after playing 7 games in May, Toronto was likely exhausted. They, like most teams, didn't play on their first weekend of June, but they also didn't play last weekend as their scheduled opponents, LAFC, were gearing up for the Club World Cup. That means Toronto has yet to play this month. And in fact, it's been 4 weeks since their last match, 2-0 loss to Charlotte back on May 25th. So this could be good, or it could be bad. The Canadian players on this team of some skill are playing with the Canadian national team in the Gold Cup. We should talk about the Gold Cup. All right. The history behind these teams. It's the 47th all-time meeting between the Red Bulls and Toronto FC. The Red Bulls lead handily in this series, 25-10-11. The last time these teams met was way back on March 22nd, where Forsberg had a PK and then scored again in the 78th minute. Carvalho had that late red card that was just so stupid. The Red Bulls are unbeaten in 13 matches against Toronto. We're going to exclude their shootout loss in the Leagues Cup last year. The last time that the Red Bulls lost to Toronto FC was it was the before times. It was before COVID, July of 2019. Red Bulls have a solid away record at Toronto, 7-7-8. The last match at Toronto FC was last October 2nd when New York dropped a house on them by goals by Forsberg and John Tolkien and Lewis Morgan and Elias Manuel in a 4-1 win. All-time leading scorer is BWP, to the surprise of no one. Lewis Morgan is inching up and has a chance to increase his lead. And wouldn't that be nice, his total? All right. Sean Johnson is still playing in this league at 36. He has 4 clean sheets in 17 games and has conceded 24. He's 36 years old. Again, the back line, Peretta from Italy, Kevin Long, no relation, Sigurd Rosted with a goal from center back, and Kosi Thompson, a 22-year-old Canadian. The sixes are Alonso Coelho, a 25-year-old Spaniard, and Maxime Dominguez, who has 1 assist. Insigne absolutely blowing it out this year with 1 goal and 2 assists in half a season. Bernadeschi has 4 and 3. Ola Brynhilsen, the 26-year-old Norwegian, has 2 and 1. And your friend and mine, MLS Cup champion Derek Etienne Jr. Mike is excited. I can see him off camera with 1 assist on the season, which was at New York Red Bulls when he made that pass to Devin Kerr for the equalizing goal. Yuck. Potential absentees for Toronto include Jonathan Osorio, who's 33 and old and is playing with the Canadian national team, as is Tyrese Spicer, who's playing for the TNT national team. They lost to the U.S. on the weekend 5-0. DeAndre Kerr has an ankle injury. He who scored against the Red Bulls in Harrison, and a collection of other human beings that may not play. And so, hello, we're back again. New York at Toronto. Toronto is not good. I think I had, Toronto. I don't know if I put this up there. What Toronto's home record is? They're 1-7-2 at home.
You do wins, loss, ties?
I do wins, losses, ties, like a red-blooded American patriot. So, what you got, my guy? New York at Toronto. You'll have more time out of Lewis, perhaps. Caravaggio back and healthy as he winds down his time. 12 days left on his loan. We'll see if he stays. What do you got?
Yeah, it's like the 20. You remember 24 with the clock? It's
I
pretty much
do.
every
I
game.
do.
I think that this should be 3 points, but we've come to realize that Toronto can be tricky because the Red Bulls are not consistent.
Haven't lost against them in 13 straight times.
I'm not saying they should win, but they could also tie.
Mhm.
That's the whole thing here is that I keep forgetting. I was about to say BMO. I was like, oh, wait, it is BMO because there's two BMOs.
It's still BMO.
I know there's two BMOs in this league that throws me off. Whole thing with this team is that Toronto is bad. I will say that I'm surprised that they have 18 goals for this year because 18 for 24 against, like that's really close to 500.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, but then you just said, oh, wait, they beat Montreal 6-1.
Montreal is the only team under them in the Eastern table.
So a lot of those goals chunked from, Club de Foot.
Right.
I will say that this should be a good chance for Red Bull to, refine themselves. We know what a long break can do to a team. So Toronto not playing in 4 weeks is going to hurt them a lot. It's not, maybe it'll be good for them mentally, but physically we know that these long breaks hurt these teams.
Yeah.
Overall, should be a good chance for Lewis to rehab. Don't start him, please, for the love of God.
I don't think he's going to start.
Yeah, get Carballo. Just run that kid into the ground before he goes. I don't know.
So your prediction, sir?
1-0.
1-0. I'm going to call it 2-0. I'm going to double your score.
Your price is right again.
Toronto's XG is 16 in 17 games, and they've scored 18. So they're outperforming their XG, but
only up from here
with a single win at home. I mean, I'm not going to use the words. It all seems if New York plays to their level, they can get it done. All right, when we're back on Seeing Red, we're going to hit the email bag. Keep it here. We're back. We got to get back in the groove. Had a week off, figured it out, took some time, gave our grades. It's going to be a little strange because this team's playing like once a week now for the rest of the year, other than Leagues Cup and Open Cup. Hey, email us, seeingredandrye@gmail.com. Please do this. Is that a thumbs down? Or
No, I was trying to point to the email. And
yes.
Yeah.
We got one email this week. It's from our friend Paul Fleck. He says, hey, guys. Hey, Paul. Hope all's well with you. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe I was out of the loop, but I can't say I saw the Michael Bradley appointment for RB2 coming. I don't think anybody did.
Anyone did.
With the report that Red Bull Global sees him as an up-and-coming coaching prospect, is it too forward to assume that this was a move to get Sandro's replacement in the building on the assumption he continues to have success? He'll be looking to move back to Europe. I knew Ibrahim got the bump up to the first team bench as part of the moves, but if MB has success, my guess is they won't keep him from following in his father's footsteps for long. What are your thoughts, Paul Fleck? What are your thoughts?
Can we go one show without talking about the coach getting fired? For the love of God.
When was the last time we talked about the coach getting fired?
I feel like every time I'm on this show, it's like Sandro's in the hot seat. Oh
no. I think this is more an acknowledgement that Sandro won't be here forever. He's a European coach that comes here and he does his 3 or 4 year tour, most likely 3, and then he'll be on his way. And I don't think, unlike the foreign coaches that have come in the Hans Baca era, and then, we had American coaches for some time, but like, he's not going to be here forever. I think he's having a good time. I think the team is, they're not blowing it out, but they're close to the top of the league relatively. I just know that he won't be here forever. I think that's okay to say.
None of us are going to be here forever, Mark.
Lord.
But all I'm saying is, like, we can't just go into this saying, like, well, he's not on a loan deal. I don't know what the plan is for RB Global. I don't know, like, how long he's going to be here. But the thing is, like, oh, well, he's definitely the replacement. Yeah, and Trey Lissé was supposed to be the Gerhard Stuber replacement. Like,
Right.
the fact that we always do this, where we have a European
It's
coach,
just
and
next.
then we have waiting in the wing. We have your new puppy right when we about to put that old one down. It's just like
Isn't
what?
don't you have to do that with players too? I mean, like we know who the next, at least from a
There's a
homegrown
difference.
standpoint.
There's a difference between having a shortstop because Derek Jeter is 40 and you need another one to come up, and
Right.
then there's saying, "Hey, we're gonna have the replacement for Aaron Judge ready just in case." What are we doing? That like,
Mm,
there's two totally different systems there.
mm.
Now, if you want to say like, Michael Bradley can be the future, yeah, he hasn't coached a game like at any professional level. So I don't even want to talk about him possibly. I've already heard this from Hudson River Blue going, man, the seats really kicking up. It's like, no, guys, we need to take this day by day. It's a cool idea. A Red Bull Global probably has an idea for it. Maybe that happens in a couple years, but I don't think we need to assume right now that this is Sandro's replacement.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think it's okay to have, frankly, a U.S. soccer legend who is doing it the right way, right? He's not necessarily a Tab Ramos or a Tony Miola who basically went. I mean, Tab was involved in U.S. soccer and youth
Yeah, Tab
development
was a
for some
U20
time.
coach.
Yeah, fair. But
Tony
like
just Tony, yeah.
Tony just right, and John Harkes also.
John Harkes, yeah.
Just like, hey, if John Harkes is going to coach the team, he had actually a pretty decent run in Greenville. But the point is,
Cincinnati wasn't good. Greenville was.
Greenville was. Here's a guy who understands. So he's a coach's son. He was born to do this. And I think it was just a matter of time. And I guess you can say he's glad that he came back home to do this. He has history with the organization. I will definitely ask Julian de Guzman, like, how quickly did this come together? As you said, like, were you aware that Mike wanted to coach the team? How long did you know that Ibisevic was ready to go? Like, was this someone making a call like, oh, hey, we got this. Come now.
Yeah, we got this new thing in. You should really come down and check it out.
Come down, check it out. So I'm excited. I think Red Bull fans should be excited by it.
You should be excited.
It's a positive thing when former players come back to the team to coach. I mean, I think it helps coalesce the history of the club. And, you look at all the MLS guys from previous generations that, look at Jesse. I mean, Jesse was never a mainstay USMNT player. He was a mainstay MLS player. And obviously learning under Bob, I think, was great for him. And he's an intelligent guy that you always kind of knew that he was going to be a coach, right? I think in a world where folks like Atlanta and NYCFC, there are a lot of teams that look elsewhere, and the Red Bulls have flipped back and forth for years. You look at a guy like Steve Cherundolo, right? Former USMNT player, played in Hanover for years, coached in Germany for years, and now he's found his way back, and he's been successful. That's kind of cool. That's U.S. soccer culture. Jim Curtin for 10 years at Philadelphia was U.S. soccer culture.
What about Gio? What about Gio?
Gio Savarese.
Right. He was a former player, went to a D2 team, the New York Cosmos. Then he went to the Portland Timbers. And yes, you can argue they didn't win a trophy, but I would say he won MLS's back. But yeah, that's doing it the right way too. Starting out small, building up.
Yep. No problem with that. We've come to it. Thank you so much, Paul, for your email. We've come to an end of another fantastic episode of Seeing Red, number 618 in a series. I want to thank Zach Feldman for stats and Mike Battista. Mike, you every week I ask where people can find you. If you've been watching Seeing Red and listening to Seeing Red, I think you know Mike Battista. So, Mike, where's the easiest place that people can find you? You have a very big CV right now.
Yeah, so easiest place you can find me is you can find me on Blue Sky at Battista, and you can find me still on Twitter at Michael Battista. That's where you will find me posting wherever I'm writing for at the moment, because Club World Cup's going on, Red Bulls, Open Cup, it's all happening, baby.
It's all happening. Let me close with this. Does John Tolkien see the field during the Gold Cup as a starter?
Yes.
Okay. For Mike, I'm Mark, saying thanks so much for watching and listening to Seeing Red. Tell your friends about us. We'll be back next week ahead of the Loons coming into Red Bull Sports Illustrated Stadium. Be well, everyone. Have a great night.